Hello, 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 and welcome to one of your pre-season videos. You are joined by me, Andy, FPLMode, and we are also joined by somebody who is going to be revealing their team for us this evening, and it is Chris El Fozzy. How's it going?
Hello, Ola. How are you doing? I'm going very well, actually. I'm doing this all the way from Barcelona, so there'll be. I can't. I should have got Rafinha in. Really, would have been apt, wouldn't it? But yes, no, I'm quite excited about this. Actually, it's kind of a bit like that run up to Christmas when, like, it was the Christmas music's been playing for a while now, and you're a little bit, oh God, have they started playing that already? But and then you go, oh, I'm not gonna get carried away with this, and then you get closer and closer, and suddenly you get it kind of Christmas spirit gets you. And that's what it feels like for me at the moment. The FPL spirit has got me, the kind of the collie wobbles, oh God, the endless redraft drafts, all that stuff. I'm
Have you
excited.
been have you been drafting and tinkering a lot in Barcelona as well?
That's all I've been doing, but nothing else to do here. Too hot. I was in the Sitges, which was very nice. Well, for a week, it was really hot, and
Yeah.
yeah. So it was either wandering past the nudist beach or drafting my FPL team. So all about fiddling all the way around. No, but it was no,
Oh God.
it was. Oh
Oh
my
dear.
God! We cut that. We can't cut. No, no. No. It's. I have. I've been messing about. I kind of started, as we'll see in a bit. I started with an idea that was really clear in my head as soon as the prices came out. Um, and then I've kind of swayed away from that a bit, like a lot of people have, I think. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll cover that. But
Yeah, oh,
yeah.
definitely, mate. I mean, should we just jump straight in because this is what people want to see, and the big thing that we've got tonight is the fact that it's not just one draft. There are two, aren't there?
It's double draft. So I'm basically sharing the first draft that I was going in really confident I was never going to change, and then kind of where I've got to at the moment. But I have started thinking about going back to the first one. So this is
Let's
a
show
very
it.
apt. This is kind of very apt of where I am, and I don't think either is quite template. So that'll be a little bit different. Yeah, I'm hoping to get back to my 5K ish form and not my sort of 60K ish form of last year. So
Oh,
I'm
well,
taking on ours this year. The gauntlet has
oh,
been thrown.
yeah, big time. It's a good target to have. So we've got the team up on the screen now for anybody that listens on the pod. So Chris has gone for Raya in goal, Ben White, Trent Alexander-Arnold, James and Cancelo in a back four. Then he's got Bernardo Silva, Luis Diaz, Salah and Gordon in the middle. That's right. Gordon. And then he's also got Jesus and Haaland up top with Sanchez. So he's gone for rotating keepers there in Raya and Sanchez. Neco Williams, Andreas Pereira and Greenwood from Leeds all on his bench, which to be honest, I would say that bench is pretty standard for what a lot of people are doing. The rotating keepers, though, if we start on those, Raya and Sanchez, what makes you go with those rotating keepers?
This is something I started with early on, and I don't unlike to change. I'm not someone that can ever go. I get the idea of the big keeper, get your Edison in, stick him in, keep him, but I just can't spend more than like 5 million on the keeper, and I don't like to spend. Don't mind spend five if I can get away with it. And I had Sanchez a lot last season. He was good to me. I think Raya as well got great fixtures for the first 10. A few kind of middling early on, but that Brentford have got, I think, the top of the fixture ticker for the first 10, and
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll probably be pretty solid. So I think I'll have a good option either way between Sanchez and Raya, provided Raya's playing. Of course,
Yeah.
that's the one thing that's made me kind of have a little bit of pause for thought with the new Brentford kind of signing where it's backable or otherwise. So that's kind of there's a little bit of pause for thought there, but yeah, no, I think they rotate pretty well. They're both decent options, and you've got two decent options for 9 million. You could go Edison or something 5 or 5.5, and then a 4 million bench fodder. But I don't know. I like to be able to rotate. I think Edison also is keeping a City spot, which
Mm.
I think you're going to want to do that, use that elsewhere, and just switching your keepers out is not a transfer you want to be doing really.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I think I can totally see it. I can totally say go for a set and forget sort of type. The push for Mendy, which I think is a template one, I don't quite get on the
Mm.
I get on the basis of Chelsea last year, on the basis of Chelsea pre-season and a brand new defence. I'm not as convinced that he's a set and forget just yet. Especially not playing Everton first up, which let's face it, is one of those games which there's going to be hundreds of goals at one end or the other, probably.
Yeah, it does feel like that. I was moving on to your defence then. Trent, James, Cancelo are all kind of very template picks in terms of they're going to be highly owned. You can see the appeal with all of those. Obviously, their wing backs were very, very attacking, and they've got that upside. But then you've gone for your 4 at the back with Ben White there, 4.5 million. To you, sorry, is he the best value 4.5 million defender to start the game with?
He's the one I've got at the moment, certainly.
Yeah.
I looked at a few others. I've been looking at Newcastle defenders. I'd really like to get something in there from Spurs. I have a previous, like most people, I've had kind of dalliances with Robertson in the back as well, and going, and even early on Chilwell before pre-season sort of worked out the way it was. So I was initially, one of my earlier drafts was thinking 4 at the back and having another big hitter. At the moment, I think the Arsenal defence, Arsenal look, like they're going into the season in pretty good form. They've got pretty good fixtures. Is that the best option? I don't, is he likely to start? Absolutely. Is the absolute best option? I think you can debate that. But I don't think it's a bad option. I think getting into that Arsenal defence, if I could have got a 4.5 million Spurs, defender I know is going to start, or one of the other top 6 that I knew was definitely going to start, I might have gone that way, but I haven't. So that's kind of where I'm going at the moment. I think the Arsenal defence has been quite parsimoniously priced. So I think there are other good options. I could see moving to Newcastle if they get a good start, and they look pretty solid as they did last year. I can see getting a 4.5 from one of their players in there, definitely.
Yeah. Don't fancy someone like Dunk? I suppose you'd have double Brighton then, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no. He's an option. I had sort of Burn, had Dunk as options. I was, if Trippier had been a bit cheaper, I might have been tempted by that. I think he's well priced. I don't think it's unfair price, but I think that's No, I consider it certainly. I think because I like to have exposure of different teams, right? And I think Arsenal can have a good season. I think they've bought well. I think they've kind of got rid of some problem players as well. And I know, players that haven't really fit. I think and people like Pepe, if he goes as well, I think it seems to be kind of coming together. So I feel confident to back him at least at the start of the season. We'll see how it goes when it all falls apart. If I change widely, if I was going to change wildly on the back, I'd probably go to another 4th big player and probably go for Robbo, to be honest. But or even a Diaz. I don't know, something big and chunky that I could just feel. Yeah, absolutely set and forget. But yeah.
Well, let's move on to this midfield then, because Salah's in. Salah's fine, obviously. You've gone for Luis Diaz. You've gone for Luis Diaz over Robertson, which you've already said, you could potentially change White to Robertson, and then I'm assuming Luis Diaz would be that player that you would downgrade.
It would have to be,
before we move on to the big 2 ones that we're obviously going to talk about, talk us through that decision. Talk us through that decision to go Luis Diaz over Robertson, because that is something that I have tackled in my head over and over and over again this pre-season. I'm on Luis Diaz at the moment, but I'm so tempted to go to Robertson.
I can completely see it. If I'm thinking totally with my head, I think Robertson as a points chance per pound player is probably the smarter option. You've got someone who's going to get clean sheets. He's going to get assists. We might get the odd goal. I am severely tempted by that as well. It just makes the midfield a bit even more weak and a bit more boring than it is now, right? So I think with Mane gone, with Jota injured, albeit now as a forwards, I think Diaz was really exciting in spells when he was playing, and started to show some real promise. And I think if he can kick on, then I think he can have a really huge season. Liverpool got a great start. One way or another, I want to be part of that. That attack, and I think everyone's got Salah, right? That's not a differential. Everyone's got Trent. So you like you say, you've got to decide. You're either going to go Robertson, Diaz, or Nunes, or Darwin, whatever you like to look at. And I can see that I might evolve my lineup to bring in Darwin. See what I did there? But it's quality all the way here.
Oh dear.
But no, and obviously, scoring 4 goals in the night, sort of relatively impressive. But Sorry, the dog. Well, 1 second. Apologies.
We'll definitely be cutting this bit out. How long are we? 10 minutes 30 in.
Sorry about that.
That's all right, mate.
That's apologies. This is the perils of being in an apartment here. And my wife's just coming up, and I knew it was going to clash. Apologies for that. But yes,
that's all right. Yeah. So Luis Diaz. But if deadline was tomorrow, would it be Luis Diaz or Robertson you had in your team?
Deadline tomorrow. I'm happy with Diaz at the moment.
Yeah.
Given another week to tinker, it's entirely possible Robertson could come into that thinking. Entirely possible.
Right. Shall we move on to your other two midfielders then?
I don't think there's anything else to talk about. I think I've gone template here. I don't think these are the players that everyone's got, aren't they? I mean, I've been looking at all these drafts. I feel a bit boring. I've come in with the usual ringers that everyone's going for, right? So
we have got Bernardo Silva in here, and we've got Anthony Gordon. Now, obviously, Anthony Gordon has just been given the number 10 shirt, so they obviously think a lot about him at Everton. Bernardo Silva was linked with moves away from Man City this year, but obviously we have seen that he does have it in him to be able to score a few goals, get a few assists, and last year, I think it was, he did that in quite a short period of time as well. But talk us through going with Bernardo and Gordon in your midfield.
So, right. City midfield. I want 3 City. Is point one. I've looked at a lot of the City options. I'm a big fan of, I think Foden's a great choice. I think Grealish could come brilliant this year, was a bit underwhelming, obviously, last season. KDB, if you can afford him, obviously, no brainer. But, that's a big commitment with all the other premiums around. I ended up idling around Bernardo or Gundogan. The extra half a mil made the big difference in the end, and I've gone for Bernardo. He had a great start to last season. Admittedly, KDB wasn't, playing for much of that, and so maybe that's created more opportunities. But with some of the players they've lost over or let go, Silva's that sort of player that Pep will slot in somewhere in most matches, and he's like Gundogan. He's one of those players who's got the opportunity just to pop up in the box and knock it away. I think City are going to score even more goals this year. I think Haaland's probably the end of a lot of them, but I would back Silva to have another strong start, and that's why I think he was a much underappreciated player last year. Actually, he did really well points wise, and I think it kind of cooled down a little bit later on. But I think I see him starting a lot of games, and provided he stays, and provided somebody doesn't random decision to come in and City sell yet another player. But I think he was a bit of not under the radar because he obviously got a lot of points. But I think he was a bit of an underappreciated player last season. And it's either Gundogan or Bernardo for me. It gives me a player I think is going to start most City matches, going to be in and around the attack for City for 7 million. I think that's an incredible bargain, to be honest.
So if he does get sold, you're going.
I obviously can't have him if he gets sold. If he gets sold, that makes it harder for me to play him. I think. Definitely. I think in that situation, what I'd probably do is change the player. So, I think there's a lot
of those listening on the pod, by the way, I'm just shaking my head right now.
I mean, I would probably try and get to Gundogan if Bernardo got sold. I would, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't totally rule out trying to get a Mahrez in, but I just can't with Mahrez. I love him. I think he's such a talented player, and he should play, right? Mahrez should play.
Wow.
He should. If he's not going to play this season, he's never going to play, right?
Yeah.
So, I think I'd probably try and get to Gundogan, or I'd have to rethink the midfield a chunk. I would be kind of surprised if he sold him, because I think he's also a bit of a utility player, and again with players they've let go, it feels odd. It feels a very odd decision, and unless the players push to leave, I can't really see why I'd want to do that either.
No, I'd be surprised now. They've lost so many players, sold so many players this year, and they haven't brought that many in. I'd be very surprised they got rid of him as well, because he just plays the way Pep wants, doesn't he?
Exactly, completely. He fits that. He fits the system where Pep wants to do in a way that maybe Haaland would have to see how he does. But
and then Anthony Gordon.
So there you go. I don't think we even need to just debate this, do we? I mean, isn't this the obvious? Just you said Salah, Alexander-Arnold, James Cancelo, all makes sense. Anthony Gordon. Why do we need to debate it? I don't understand.
I'm not going to lie. I haven't seen him in many drafts. He's obviously he did well in spurts last year, but obviously he was very cheap last year. Now he's coming. I think he's 5.5, isn't he?
5.5. That's still pretty cheap, right? I mean, I know there are options. There's an incredible amount of love for Neto, which again, looking at the fixtures, the Wolves have got a really great fixtures. They seem to have ever diminishing ranks of players, which might be a problem. But you know, I kind of see that. And and that's an option. It's the same price. I could do that flip if I wanted to be really boring and go the same as everyone else. I'm an Everton fan for my sins, and I'm not going to do what I did at the start of January last year, where I went triple Everton and a wild card on January the 1st. That was insane, and probably cost me my season. But I don't think we're in quite the dire straits everyone seems to think we are. And I know Everton were usually pretty abject in pre-season. And we usually start all right. And actually, Chelsea, our fixtures are pretty good. Chelsea is our first game, and we're a bit of a bogey team for them, certainly of late, with obviously, you know, Lampard being there as well. And Chelsea don't look all that at the moment either. So if we're ever going to face them, I think now's not a bad time. And I think if we're going to get anything out of those sort of games, I think Gordon's going to be there and thereabouts. I can think, you know, Gordon Cross will run into you know, hopefully DCL finish. You know, or maybe we'll have some other exciting forward players like Dwight McNeil or Cornet or something else by then. I'm kind of, I still have a little fire burning for Broja at the moment, which I think is a possible. I think Broja's going to go somewhere, and I think now that West Ham have kind of gone with a different option, I think we were one of the leading sort of contenders to take him, even if it's on loan for a year. So I don't know. Is it a bit of a complete punt first week? Absolutely. Is it a player that I could go, what am I thinking, and change? Yeah, but I you know, you've got a little bit of differential. I'm not as excited as people are about Neto. Like I said, I think there's a lot of people getting very excited about Neto and Rashford and other, even Martinelli. Is Martinelli going to start? I mean, I think he's a good player. He's $500,000 more. He's definitely also my thinking if I tinker around a little bit. But is he going to start? I don't know. It's hard to be sure. I think Gordon will start.
No, fair enough. I like I said, he's just been given the 10 shirt. They obviously have a lot of faith in him in terms of being a player for them this season and moving on. So I don't. It's you know, it's not an awful pick, is it? But it's just out of template. So
what you're saying is it's not an awful pick, and then you go.
People look at it, don't they? And if it's not template, they go, ooh, why are you doing that? So, you know, it'd be boring if everybody's teams was exactly the same.
For the benefit of the podcast listeners, when he said it's not an awful pick, he literally rolled his eyes and put his head in his hand and saying that. So, but yeah, it's Maverick. Will it stay there at the end? I don't know. But I think you've got to. I think it's really important in this period. Actually, one thing I will say is not to set now and go, "Oh, that's my team," and not change. I think part of the fun of the game and part of the process, certainly for me, is putting players in and looking at it and overnight and then coming back and going, and moving it about a little bit. And I think, you know, those midfield slots, you know, around the kind of fixture defenders and midfield and forward options are the same. And I'm presuming you're going to come on to my forward options, which are pretty template boring, right? So
Jesus and Haaland. I mean, Jesus is the most owned player in the game, so we won't talk about him too much. Just talk me through, before we go on to your next draft, Haaland versus Kane. What makes you go with Haaland instead of Kane to start with? Because obviously in this draft, you have no Spurs whatsoever.
I have no Spurs, and that is my main worry, to be honest, about this draft. I didn't even consider having Højbjerg for Gordon, but I'm not sure. He's got over 100 points last 2 seasons, so as a yeah, but he's quite attacking. The weird thing for Spurs, he doesn't seem to get forward. For Denmark,
he does, for Denmark.
He plays much further forward. He's quite an attacking player. He's got a weird position at Spurs. I've been alternating between sort of Kane and Haaland, or thinking about getting in Son or Kulusevski for some time. You've got to go one way or the other. I think Kane's a very good pick. He's obviously Spurs look great pre-season. They've really strengthened the side. He does start slowly most seasons. This is a thing. That doesn't mean it has to happen this season. I think there's also a lot of other options around for the Spurs forward line. I mean, you know, Son gets some goals. Kulusevski was in the goals. Richarlison's not in this first game, but he's going to come in when he gets past his suspension. You know, there's more attacking players from football. I think the goals might be spread around a little bit. So yeah, and I think I would like to have Spurs, but I also think all the time we thought about Haaland coming to the Premier League last few years, and I always
Yeah.
thought if Haaland's in the Premier League, nailed, gonna have him. And I've always said that, and I've always thought that, and I kind of feel it's kind of madness considering City also have great fixtures to start the season. It seems crazy not to have him. Obviously, there is a few kind of rumours or a few words whether he's going to be fit enough. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's going to take something to stop him starting the Premier League season. Like the guy is a tank. Like he's not only is he a finisher, he's about 8 foot tall as well. He's Peter Crouch and Lukaku in one. He's a huge guy and he wants this. He really wants this. I think I think he's going to come out of the blocks at pace. I also think, I think that City's fixtures are probably more favourable initially than Spurs. The argument against is Kane is going to start, right? And Kane is going to be up for every game. And Haaland, certainly if there's more questions about fitness, that's obviously might change that decision. But yeah, I've also got Silva already covering the attacking returns for City. So
Exactly. Well, this is your kind of. I'm probably going to be going with this draft, but we do also have your second draft as well, which is what you have called, and this is literally what it was saved as, the more fun draft, and it's actually got at the top of the stream as well. So again, for the people listening on the pod, we've got Raya in goal, White, Alexander-Arnold, James Cancelo. The bench is exactly the same. We've still got Haaland, we've still got Salah. There is just 4 players that are different. So instead of Gordon, instead of I can't remember the players now. Silva, and instead of Diaz and Jesus, we now have Bailey, Son, Martinelli, and Brozier. Now, I am assuming Brozier is because you're expecting him to move.
Yeah. I'm not expecting Brozier in the Chelsea reserves to be worth anything. I'll be amazed if he's not playing. Even I expect it to be a loan rather than anything else, but I'd be amazed if he's not got another berth for the start of the season. He was too good at Southampton to just sit on the bench unless Chelsea, unless Chelsea do play him up top, in which case at 5.5 that'd be great, wouldn't it?
It'd be banging,
that'd be banging. But yeah, this is what I started with when the prices came out. This sort of structure which had Son, Salah, and Haaland. I wanted to have 3 premiums. I thought, great, you've got to get Son. I've got to get him. Whatever. He was so hot last season. Spurs, great first fixture, not too bad. Early fixtures, a few challenging ones in there, but and then I thought, can I do it? And I started doing it. And I thought, I've got Son, I've got Salah, I've got Haaland, I've got Cancelo, I've got James, I've got TAA. Hang on, I can do this. And then and then I filled out the space.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so how much is Brozier, by the way? Is he 5.5?
5.5, yeah, he's 5.5.
Yeah. So Brozier's 5.5.
If he becomes if he goes anywhere where is likely to start, I mean, that's an incredible price, I think.
I'm just thinking.
But he's not anywhere at the moment. I get that, right? I get he's on Chelsea's bench, a long way back, right?
I'm just thinking in terms of, you've obviously got Son, Salah, Haaland, which is brilliant. You've got those 3 premiums in there.
Yeah.
You could still have 3 premiums if you change Son to Kane, obviously, and that frees up 0.5 million. And then you'd need a 6 million mid, wouldn't you? And would you feel more comfortable going Kane in a 6 mil mid, or would you feel more comfortable?
Yeah, but then Kane's more expensive than Haaland, right? I think. Sorry,
Kane's the same as Haaland.
Is he
11.5?
Sorry, that's my sloppy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I want Haaland, don't I? Clearly.
Oh, no, that's what I mean. And have Haaland.
No, but you're right.
Have Haaland and Kane.
Could I do it? Yeah, maybe I could do that. I could do that differently. I mean, you could. I guess you could do Kane and KDB, right? I mean, what's KDB? I've been looking. I should know that off the top of my head. Yeah, no, that is, and that buy me more up front. The thing is, there's not a lot of striking options until you get a fair chunk up, I don't think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay, Brozier's an absolute punt. Bailey's looked really promising, sort of pre-season. There's some question marks, there's some pros and cons, but I think that's a fair punt. I went Benrahma at the start of last year, like a few people did, and, that was a bit of a punt, really, and he based on some pre-season form, it worked out really well, at least for a while. I argued against Martinelli before. I'm arguing for Martinelli here, I guess. He's a great player to own if he's going to get, like 70% starts, or 80%. But Well, he could well do. It's just there's quite a lot of players now in that Arsenal midfield and attack to fit. And he's got. I mean, one thing people say about Jesus, he's just got Nketiah with a new deal as well. Mm-hmm. Nketiah, a 5-year deal he signed. He signed a big, long, chunky deal to stay there. I don't, and he scored quite a few goals in pre-season as well. I'm not sure he's going to be happy to sit on the bench, right? I mean, I'm not saying Jesus is not a better player. I don't know, but Nketiah will not want to be just sidelined. So it's going to be interesting how the rotation, how Arsenal sort of manage those attacking options. I mean, maybe they're playing 2 up top. I don't know, but so you're right. I could go Kane, and I could bring in a more premium City midfielder in there, and I mean maybe that's another thing to try later this evening. But I think that the things I think you can get 3 premiums. I know people saying you can't, and I know the template is not. The interesting thing about a template is that people get really attached to players like Neto.
Yeah.
And I kind of get it, but I kind of don't get it either. Like I get, like, Wolves don't strike me as a team that are going to be scoring a lot of goals. You know,
and they've just lost Jimenez as well.
Yeah, based on exactly. I mean, maybe that means more opportunities for. I don't think it does though. I think they're probably quite good at the back, but I don't think they're going to be like winning 3 or 4-0. So I'm not as excited about that. I think Villa and Arsenal could be. I think Villa are unpredictable. They could get beat, 3 or 4-0. They could win 3 or 4-0. I think so. I think those are good options.
Yeah.
What do you think my bench then? You think Williams and Andres and Greenwood are pretty standard then?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's between Williams and Patterson for Everton for those 4 million ones. I mean, Williams is brilliant because he's going to be playing every week. So I know they're going to be conceded goals, but you just need to be able to rely on him to come on with 2 or 1 points.
I don't think Patterson is going to be playing every week. That's the thing. Yeah, I don't think he's going to
start with. He will, though. I would have thought because Coleman's out, isn't he?
Coleman's out, but they've been even in pre-season. They've not been playing him every match. I mean, they've been trying to push Godfrey out there and Iwobi and all sorts. So. It doesn't. They just bought Vinagre, who's left back. The position we already have a good player in, but that's. I'm not feeling salty about that.
I think Williams is hard to look beyond. To be perfectly honest, I think he's the perfect 5th defender. Greenwood's fine. You've got Greenwood, you've got Archer, who I'm on at the moment. The 4.5 million striker, you're not going to want to rely on, are you? So I think that's fine. And then Pereira, I think is perfect. Playing number 10 on set pieces. I think that bench is pretty standard now. To be honest,
it's a bit of a shame in a way because there's not, obviously there's still some more shenanigans to go in the next week. There'll be some further transfers and players that suddenly appear. But it's a bit of a shame that I think I heard Az mention in a podcast before that we've never been like this before, where there's been such a set agreement on the bench. This is like a really weird position to be. But
and especially with a season where we all want all those premiums and you feel like you can get them. You've now got such an affordable bench that's so easy to get. It's made it a lot easier. So that's why I think this template is kind of set in quite well. But do you know what? I'll go back to it again. But obviously your first draft, I like the fact you've got those template players in there, but you've also got Bernardo and Gordon. So it's, in that first week, if Bernardo and Gordon both get a goal, you're going to be loving life, aren't you?
I'm going to be loving life. I think, I mean, the more you say Gordon, the less convinced I am by my own pick. But still... As a fan, I think I've got to show some loyalty. I mean, it could be great, I guess, but I think Gordon's going to start each game at least. We'll play the 90. Yeah, I think I'll stick with Bernardo. If I stick with that lineup, I think I'll stick with Bernardo. Gordon, I might go back and forward on, but yeah. But we've got a week still. Over a week still.
And like we said, if Gordon gets a brace in his first game, you'll start like a flash. Hey, there you go.
I see. That's pretty good.
Aha! Merciless that was. Hey, I'm going to stop now. I'll stop now. But no, lovely stuff. Chris, thank you so much for letting us have a look at your 2 drafts. Like you said, we've still got a week left, so these are subject to change, aren't they? But you would say the core is kind of there now.
Absolutely. I mean, I think certain players you just can't let beyond, which is a kind of a bit of a shame. I was sort of hoping that they'd move Salah up front. I didn't think they ever really were going to, but I was hoping that there'd be some moves like that which would really kind of put the cat amongst the pigeons, or maybe even Salah moving abroad, which seemed potential at some point with sort of Madrid stuff. But he's just so good, everyone's going to have him. But the thing is, people get very excited about Jesus as well, and everyone's got to have Jesus, but he's doing really well pre-season. Let's see, he missed a lot of shots for City, right? He's not probably get quite as many chances Arsenal as he got at City. So let's see how it plans out. I think everyone's very confident about their lineups now, and I think as usual, after we get into Saturday on game week 1, suddenly all the best laid plans start to fall apart, right? And we'll go,
well, yeah.
Why didn't we get Jamie Vardy? We were all thinking about him,
Especially when Friday night is Arsenal as well, and I'm on triple Arsenal at the moment. So
wow,
yeah.
You Martinelli, are you?
Yeah, Martinelli, Zinchenko, and Jesus.
Zinchenko, see, there's someone I haven't looked at. That's a smart option. Yeah, what's he? 5'5"?
No, 5.
5.
Yeah. I like
so
him.
You might be changing. You might be giving me. I didn't. I was a bit down about him, so I thought he was moved to Everton. So I was a bit upset that he didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't move with us. But yeah, but no, Zinchenko could be really interesting. Depends again where he's going to play. He's kind of. But yeah, cool.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed your evening chatting through your team.
I haven't did. Muchas gracias. Have a lovely evening, and yes, right. And remember, are we still giving away a membership? I remember, is that just for as streams? I think we're giving away a Scout membership for someone in the comments. Every day we're doing that.
Ah, yes. That's why people keep commenting, isn't it? Saying this is my username.
Yes. So stick your username in the comments. If you've got to subscribe to the channel, but then stick your username in the comments. And if you've not got Premium Scout membership, you might have a chance of winning one. If you have already got one, we will find one for one of your chums. So do it. It's the best. We're not going to guarantee you win your mini league, but you are definitely going to improve your chances. You improve your chances markedly. We are the choice of champions. Most of the previous winners have been with us, and hopefully we will be again. Maybe be one of us this year. Probably not, but maybe it will.
Yeah, lovely. Right, we will see you all again soon. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye-bye.
Cheers, Andy.
Bye.